Hey everybody, it's Tasty Thursday again. Can you believe it? It seems like it was just Yummy Monday. Some of you caught me this week. We didn't have Yummy Monday. We had Tricky Tuesday because Yummy Monday was a holiday. But it is Tasty Thursday and we're back in the kitchen and we're making a really tasty recipe that I haven't made in a long time. And it's one that TT and I really like. I just kind of don't think to make it. But because it's hot at my house, it's probably hot at your house too. This is a great, refreshing dessert that you can make for summer. And we have two parts. We're going to do the first part now. So the first thing you're going to want to do is preheat your oven to 325. Okay, and you'll notice I'm using my recipe card because it's been a while since I made it and I don't remember. Usually recipes I remember in my head, but this one's been so long, I forgot. So my recipe card tells me the first thing we need is 1/2 cup of butter melted. And so I've already melted this in the microwave, so this is ready to go for us. So the next thing we need is 1/2 cup of brown sugar. So I've got my brown sugar right here, and we're going to measure 1/2 cup. And just put it right in. That looks great. And then the next thing we need is 1½ cups of flour. So I've got my 1½ cup measure here, and I'm going to just fill it up, and we'll dump this in. Now the next part is 1/2 cup of nut topping, or of chopped nuts. And you can buy nut topping at the store if you want, and that's just kind of an assortment of nuts. Usually it's mostly peanuts, but I like to make my own. So I have these nuts that I chopped up ahead of time, and these are pecans and almonds. You can do whatever. You could do walnuts or peanuts if you like. So we're going to also add 1/2 cup of chopped nuts. What we're doing is making our nut crust. And you know, I don't think I said what we're making. We're making something called Mile High Pie. Now I don't know if that's the real name, but that's the name that Taste Tester, I don't know if he came up with it or if that's just what it's called. This is a recipe that I actually got from Taste Tester's mom. That's what she calls it, so maybe that's why Taste Tester calls it that. Some of you actually live in a city that's called the Mile High City, and I wonder if you have had this pie, this Mile High Pie, in your Mile High City. I don't know. You may have to ask your grandma, who also happens to live in that Mile High City. So all we're doing is just mixing up our ingredients here, and you just want to get them until they're just a little bit blended. And then what we're going to do is put them in this baking dish that I have here. That looks pretty good. Kind of looks like a big ball of mush, but that's what you want. Maybe we'll go just a little bit more. Just a little. You want to be sure all of your nuts are mixed in. And what we're going to do now is we're going to bake it. We're going to actually press it into the pan. And then we bake it for 15 minutes. And then when we take it out, you'll see this. We take it out, we're going to take a fork and kind of mess it up. We're going to put it in here neatly now. And we can use our fingers because we have, again, I have clean hands. Make sure you have clean hands. Just kind of push it out so it's a little bit thin. We're going to bake this, and then after we take it out, we're going to, like I said, kind of mess it up with a fork, and that will kind of help dry it out a little bit and get it ready for our next ingredient. Now our next part of the recipe is really helpful if you have an electric stand mixer like I have and like we've used quite a few times. You can do it with a hand mixer, but your hand will get really tired because you have to mix it for 15 minutes. And I used to try to take shortcuts because I thought, you don't really need to do that for 15 minutes. And mine would never really get mile high. It would kind of get about this high, but we want it to be like this high. That's what makes it super high dessert. So I'm going to go ahead and bake this. Set my timer for 15 minutes, and I'm going to come back and check it. Actually, I'm not going to check it. I'm going to just take it out at 15 minutes. Here we go. Timer, 15. So I'm going to clean this up, and then we'll be back in just a minute to do the actual filling for our Mile High Pie. So it's been 15 minutes and our nut crust is finished baking, so I'm going to take it out of the oven. We're going to just set it over here on the stove. Now this part you might need to ask your adult assistant to do this for you because it's going to be very hot. Now the way I do this is to just take 2 forks, and you want to just break it up. Just like that. And once this cools a little bit, we're going to press it back into the pan. But for right now, you just want it to get kind of crumbly. Just like this. So we're going to just do this quickly and then just let it sit. Make sure you get all the edges, because you want everything to be nice, crumbly. This makes a great crust. Now you can use this crust with a lot of different desserts. We're eventually going to freeze this, and I am not a huge fan of nuts normally, but I do like this nut crust. It really adds a nice flavor to this dessert. So so we're just let that sit right there. We're going to go ahead and start making our filling. Now, one thing I should mention is I use strawberries, but I know some of you either don't like them or are allergic to them. So you could use another fruit. If you wanted to use raspberries, it would probably be good. I've never done that, but I think it probably would be really good. So we're going to take our mixing bowl, and into it we're going to dump 5 ounces of strawberries. Now these are frozen strawberries that I just thawed out. You want to be sure they're thawed. So we'll dump those in, and then we're going to add 2, let's see, what does my recipe say? We're going to add a ½ tablespoon of lemon juice. So just squirt it in. Now, some of you probably have the big bottle. It's the same stuff. I just happen to have this little squirty guy. And then we're going to add, let's see here, 1/2 cup of sugar. Now this is regular white sugar. We use brown sugar for the crust, but we're using white sugar for this. So we'll take our ½ cup measure and fill it up. Looks like this will use almost all of my sugar. Look at that. Almost all my sugar. I had exactly 1/2 cup left. That was not planned, but a happy accident. Sometimes that happens in the kitchen. You run into happy accidents. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on my mixing base. Now the next thing, I could probably use one of our viewers here, actually our viewer who just turned 4, because he is really good at cracking eggs. Now what we're going to do is we don't want the whole egg, we just want the white part. So I'm going to just crack it, and we're going to, I'm not great at this, but I don't know if you can see this. We're letting just the white part come out. See how it kind of globs up? So in here we've got the yellow part of our egg. The middle part, we don't want that. We can save that and use it. You could make yourself an omelet, or remember we made those really cool green pepper egg flowers a couple weeks ago? You could do that too. So we're going to take just the white part of our egg and dump that into our mixture with our strawberries and sugar and lemon juice. And then this is where the part that's really important, that you have a stand mixer or a really strong arm, because we're going to lock this down and we're going to actually mix this for 15 minutes, and I'm going to actually set the timer because it's very important that you mix it for a full 15 minutes. And then after that we have, well, it won't be quite 15 minutes, it'll be probably about 12 minutes when we're going to come back and check it, and then we have one final ingredient to add, which is Cool Whip. That's still in the fridge because we're not ready for it yet, and it's hot. We don't want it to get all weird. So I'm going to go ahead and start this, and we'll be back in 11 minutes and 48 seconds to check on our mixture. This is what your strawberry mixture will look like after 5 minutes. You can see it's starting to get a little bit fluffy. So in 5 more minutes it should get a little more stiff, and then we'll add our Cool Whip, and it will be the perfect texture. Okay, so it's been 12 minutes, and you might not have to do it exactly 12 minutes. What you're really looking for is until the mixture gets stiff, and what that means is when it looks like this. See how nice and puffy that is, and how you get kind of some fluffiness there? That happens because when you use egg whites, it makes things really fluffy. So the next thing we're going to do is add our Cool Whip, and we add a ½ cup. Let's see, I don't want to come out of the container. So we do ½ cup, and we're going to add that to our strawberry mixture. That looks about right. And then we're going to mix it for 3 more minutes. And then we're going to be ready to pour it into our nut crust, which over here is just looking beautiful. And you can, I don't know if you can see, but what I have done is gone ahead and patted it back down a little bit. This is tempting me. So it's ready to go as soon as our whipped cream is all mixed in after 3 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and start that up, and we'll be back in 3 minutes to finish our Mile High pie. Alright, so it's been 3 minutes, so it's time to go ahead and pour our strawberry whipped cream mixture into our nut crust. So we've got our nut crust right here. It's cooled down. And you're going to just take a big spatula or spoon. Whoops. Careful, this splatters. Alright, I'm going to clean this off and then go put this beater in the sink quick. Let's get a couple of our strawberries. Didn't get all the way mixed up, but that's okay. It will still be delicious. And they also don't want to come off of our mixer for some reason. Well, I think we're going to just leave those on there actually. I'm going to go put this in the sink, and then we'll fill up our nut crust. Alright. Look how wonderfully fluffy this looks. So good. Okay. So you just pour it on top of your crust. And it looks absolutely beautiful. Now, like I said, you could probably use raspberries with this too. I've never tried it with anything other than strawberries, but just think how beautiful this would be if you tried it with raspberries or blueberries and strawberries and served it at a summer picnic. You would have, your guests would go crazy because you'd have these gorgeous purple, blue, and pink desserts. They're amazing. So you just kind of even it out here. And then we're going to put this in the freezer overnight, and it's going to freeze. And then you can see how thick. Oh my goodness, this is going to be so good. I cannot wait. I might have to have this for breakfast. We'll see. It'll freeze overnight, and then we'll be back in the morning to check it out and see how Taste Tester likes it. If I don't beat him to the taste testing first, which I just might, because this is one of my favorite summer desserts.
Bring your family and friends. She's a magician in the kitchen. Watch it on Mondays and Thursdays. Cooking yummy foods and tasty treats. Give up orders and taste the fun sleep. It's time to eat.